Wonderful.
Well,
Okay.
it was what's easier for you? I just do it there or send you an
It's
email?
up to you, whatever you prefer. If you want to just reply later, reply later. That'd be- Okay, sounds
I'll
good.
do that. Sheila, is Rachel here?
No.
I'll email
Do you have a question?
her. We had a meeting here Thursday morning with for RDC. I need some background information on that revolving loan, some information on the revolving loan fund that I don't have in
Yeah.
the paperwork that I have. So
Okay.
I forget how to get in this.
Oh,
push twice. There you go. And then click on that.
Drive.
mhm.
Oh, okay, great.
And then, yeah, you should be able to get yourself into the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. And I just uploaded that on you guys.
Who do we have on video?
So far, it's just us.
Need one more person.
Hey, John.
Hi. Sandy said she would be here.
Yeah, I thought I saw that in the email.
Here's the agenda.
Okay.
You guys gotten into the documents okay?
Yeah.
Presentation is loaded.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Kevin.
Hi there.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, Kevin has joined us from home.
Good. Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
Kevin, we can't hear you.
Doesn't show me as muted. Are you sure?
There we go. Got it.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure if it was you or me. There we go. We've got Dan and Craig here so far.
Hi there. I'm still terrified of COVID.
What to be terrified of?
Mm-hmm.
We went out to Massachusetts for 10 days and they make you sign in when you come into the state and prove that you've had a negative test within 72 hours. And then
Wow.
they dog you every day with a text message reminding you that you're there as long as you're not infected. Then after 14 days, they let you, they tell you that you're not quarantined anymore. But if your test was negative, you can do what you want to do right away. But it's just strange.
Yeah, I've heard traveling out of state's a little different right now.
Well, all the New England states pretty much don't want any visitors. And you don't see too many people ignoring the mask mandate either. Very few.
Let's see.
Here comes Sandy.
Okay.
Toby. Toby.
Oh, I know I did.
We need one person to do this
Yes.
for. I'm a 9-year-old.
Uh-huh.
Don't look at me.
That would probably work. Oh. All right, there we go.
Sweet.
Hey, Sandy.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
I may have to mute times,
Okay.
okay?
Mhm.
And I can't see Jeff Graham at all.
I think he's got his camera turned off.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I'm here.
okay.
Let's see.
What's that?
We've got yeah, three voting members present. Cecilia Calvert is present, and so is John Oliver. So I think we're good to begin.
Kayla, I do have a question.
Mhm.
I am a member of DAR, so would my vote be a conflict of interest?
Jeff, do you want to answer that question?
My general response to that is if you think you might have a conflict, then abstention's usually the best policy. So you asked the question. I don't see the direct financial interest or even an indirect one. So I don't see anything unethical about voting, but if you don't feel comfortable, my answer is always to abstain in those situations.
Okay, well, I'm going to say I'm not going to abstain. I'm going to vote.
Okay, yeah, I'm 1,000% behind that from a legal and ethical standpoint.
Okay, thank you.
All right, with that out of the way, let's keep this thing going.
Okay.
Call to order and a roll call to determine quorum. Why don't we start with folks on Zoom?
Oh, Sandy Butler here.
Kevin,
Kevin Kenyon here.
thank you.
Dan Trotline here.
Greg Campbell here. We have 3 voting members, so we have a quorum. Well, that's good to go. Do we have approval of the minutes from the previous meeting? Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes from the previous meeting?
Yes.
Do we have any discussion over the minutes of the previous meeting?
No discussion on my end. I make a motion that we accept them.
Motion to accept the minutes as written from the last meeting. Do we have a second?
Second it.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We have the minutes of the previous meeting. Treasurer's report. Do we have a treasurer's report?
We don't have a new treasurer's report. However, there is one item I'd like to present relating to the HPC's fund. Street department needs 15 additional street sign toppers, and that will finish out the National Register District street sign toppers and give them a few extras for the future if they should need to be replaced. I would like to ask that the HPC fund these final 15 toppers, and then after that I'd ask that the street department look at funding those out of their budget, fingers crossed. But if we could just buy 15 more, that should serve us well for quite a while.
Are we talking about financials?
I think they were between $5 and $9 a piece, I remember, so not very much at all.
Any discussion, folks?
No, I think they look really nice and they add value to the community. So I would make a motion that we grant them the funds.
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion, we have a second to grant the funds for the additional street sign toppers. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? None. Motion passes.
Yep, the final few.
Cool. Are they all up?
Yes,
All
they
the-
are. Except one was backwards.
Oh, yes. Yes, I need to,
Good job.
is it fixed yet?
Yes.
Awesome, okay.
Go. All right, cool. Old business. We have any old business? We have some new business. Tell us about it.
Okay, so Sandy can actually introduce the topic if she'd like to, and I'm actually gonna have Cecilia allow her to talk on Zoom. So if she wants to, she can speak as well. So Sandy and Cecilia, I'll let you present this.
As far as I know, we have a Civil War veteran in the old portion of the cemetery. And I think they want to put a plaque up to honor him. But I think Cecilia will have more information on that. Cecilia, you want to speak about that, please?
Sure, I do. Good evening. I'm Cecilia Calvert, and I represent the Daughters of the American Revolution. Our chapter here in Madison County is Kick the Weenin chapter. We have 110-year, can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We have a 110-year history of historic preservation in Madison County. Years ago, back in the 40s, we placed a cemetery marker in Grove Lawn for Nathaniel Richmond, a Revolutionary War patriot. And we have a VA plaque, VA headstone with a DAR plaque on it in the veterans section of the cemetery. With the coming up 250th anniversary of our founding, America 250, Kick the Weenin chapter wants to pick up that mantle again of honoring Revolutionary War veterans. There are 3 additional veterans who are buried, we believe, in Grove Lawn, and we would like to put up some type of marker to honor them. We would be happy to apply to VA for VA headstones similar to the one that Nathaniel Richmond has, if we can prove that that they're buried there. And that might be a challenge because I know some, city records, town records have, were burned, and so we would have to really go through the books to see if we could find any mention of these. I sent Kayla a copy of a handout. If we had met in person, that I would have given you, that perhaps you had an opportunity to see. But it's listing some different options that we could do. The veteran headstones is certainly an option if we can find proof that they're buried there. Often family histories are not proof. So if we aren't able to secure that documentation, then we could put up a generic historic marker like we have all over Pendleton, just saying that, legend has it that, these men are buried here. The reason they came to Indiana, from the East, because none of them, fought in the Revolutionary War from Indiana. They came here afterwards. So that's what we're proposing. It would not be any expense to the cemetery, but we might ask, for the labor of installing whatever, kind of marker or headstone or sign that we would decide on. So what we're doing first, we've not made any decisions. We've not done whole lot of researching as far as monetary, how much it's going to cost our chapter. But the first thing we want to do is get the permission of the cemetery to do something, honoring the Patriots. So that's the reason why we're coming to you tonight. And then we were happy to work with you on what type of a marker that you would be amenable to. So that's basically what I have. If you got in the, I don't know if Kayla sent you the information in an email. We had 3 options. The first option was just a generic America 250 historic marker that the DAR is offering. We're going to put that one on the back burner for now because there's some controversy whether they want just state organizations to place those or whether chapters can do it. So it was our understanding that chapters could, and that's why we pursued that, but we're going to put that on hold for now. So the other 2 options are a generic historic marker, like I put a picture of the one of the abolitionist mound, that type of thing. And then the third option would be like the one Nathaniel Richmond has in the veterans section there by the crosses. And it would be a military headstone with a small DAR plaque saying that we, dedicate it to the cemetery. So that's where we are. Those are the options. And like I said, first of all, we would like just to have your permission to do something.
Cecilia, do you have names of the 3 that are?
I do. One is Elijah Boston. There are a lot of Bostons buried in the cemetery there. I don't have his dates of birth and death in my little record here because he's not a DAR patriot, as such. As we know that he fought in the Revolution and came to the Fall Creek area to live. The other one is Johann Philip Hobaugh, and he and his wife are buried in Madison County. He is buried in Groveland, but his wife is buried in Maplewood and Anderson. And then the third is William Wall, W-A-L-L. And he is buried, we believe, next to another of his family members, another Wall. And he has 2 wives listed, one or the other, maybe buried there. In addition to that, because we are daughters of the American Revolution, we honor daughters of patriots. So Nathaniel Richmond, who already has a marker there, his daughter Lucinda Hand is buried somewhere in Groveland, and that is something that we might consider on down the road, is erecting a plaque for her as well. So like I said, it's something that we're wanting to pick up in anticipation of our big, hopefully the nation will have a big 250th anniversary celebration, because none of us will live to 300. So we want to continue doing the things that our chapter has done in the past.
Cecilia, which of the 3 are you preferring?
Well, I would prefer to mark them individually with the veteran's headstone. But like I said, that may not be possible. And we can apply for one. You don't have to be a family member if it was something, that far in the past. We can fill out the paperwork and apply, but I know that we would have to list a burial location. And a family history, that somebody wrote in a book, 50 years ago, might not be enough proof. So we would need a cemetery record or the cemetery making a statement, yes, we know he's buried here. Yeah. So that would be my first option, because number one, the headstones would be paid for by the VA. And then all we would do is attach a little bronze plaque.
Right.
So short of that, just a generic marker, historic black, marker, like we have, like I said, all over Pendleton. That would be my second choice.
Yeah. Kayla, who keeps the cemetery records? Is it, who does that? Do you?
Our utility office actually does.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
The graves.
Right.
As well. Yeah. So I think a good place to start would be Tracy Dodd, utility office manager. However, as you guys know, cemetery records back that far are spotty, and so if there's not a stone, sometimes we're out of luck.
Right. Okay.
I,
was
I have a feel, I have a feeling that if the cemetery would agree that for a generic marker, we could rely on, a family history book. The Madison County Cemetery Commission has done, some research on that and has these Revolutionary Patriots listed on their website. And so if we could collaborate with them, find out what their sources were and, and go with that, I think that would pass muster for, for just a general, not a DAR marker, but a general historic marker. One of
Now-
the things that, I'm sorry, one of the things that brought this up, number one, when we saw this America 250 thing, we were thinking of the historic, cemeteries in Madison County. So that's what brought it to our attention first. But now that we're going a different direction, I attended a South Madison Community Foundation seminar last week and talked to Jane Pearson from the museum. And Jane was talking about wanting to develop a history trail from the museum to the North Park where the log cabin is. And, the cemetery would be right on that trail. So having a marker there, that people would pass by as they, went from one location to the other would be another tourist attraction.
Yes. Yeah, I want to get with you too, Cecilia, because there is grant money out there for that.
Yes.
I
yes.
researched that last year. I think I spoke to you. I just need to get a letter from you guys so I can move forward with that grant. So
That's
not
great.
my business, but
Yeah,
I had you, so I thought I'd tell you.
Right. Right. Yeah, and we're happy to help you with that with the with the DAR grant. We will be pursuing grants not from DAR but from places like Indiana Historical Society and
Right.
South Madison Community Foundation to help with the funding of this. We have funding in place from a big project we did a couple of years ago, but we don't want to deplete that entire fund on one marker. So we'll be pursuing grants, and fundraising as well.
And I've got one more question is, are they buried? See, we actually have, at one time we had one cemetery. Now the names of the one cemetery has gone into two names. So are they buried on the east and the west?
We
or-
are making the assumption that they were buried in the Old Falls Cemetery,
The
the
old one.
older part. Yeah.
That's what I figured. Okay. Okay.
And
All
then
right.
the second part of my note to Kayla, last spring when we were planning a community day in Pendleton, and that didn't happen because of COVID, our chapter was going to clean military headstones in the old portion. Some of those are 1812 war headstones, and there are going to that we know of for veterans, but and I'm not even sure, probably, like I say, some for Civil War. But we would like to take that up again. Our National Day of Service is October 11th, and so we would like to have a group of people come out and clean military headstones in the Old Falls section. Don't know that we'd get them all done. I photographed them all last Memorial Day because they had little flags, at the spot, so I could find, where they were. So I took photographs so we could, find them quickly again. But we thought we might spend an afternoon cleaning some of those. I have attended one of the workshops from the cemetery guy that comes around. I can't remember his name, but I have all the paperwork and I know what formula to use to clean those stones or whatever. So that's another thing that we would like to again request permission to have a group go out and do that.
Kayla, does that have to be state approved to go into that? No, it just has to go through the town.
I think for a light cleaning like that, I think all that we would need to do is notify the cemetery foreman.
Right.
And that way we know that, he knows there's going to be a group out there cleaning.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we had the graveyard groomers, I believe is what we've used the last couple of years. This year, of course, was canceled, but
Right.
yeah, it's a
Yes,
good-
I attended one of his workshops, and it's very informative. He's really good, and the things that he has done still look really good out there.
Yes.
You can still drive by and see those white stones. So we hope to do that for these. It won't be the headstones; it will be the veteran markers that are there. They're
Right.
usually kind of a flat marker. They're oval at the top and have a cross on them, and that's what we'll be working on.
Okay.
Craig Campbell here with the convention. I've got a couple of questions for you. So, help me out here. Are you simply asking for permission to put down headstones if you can prove that the veterans are buried there at no cost to the town? Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. It would be funded by our chapter. We're not asking for any funding, but we're asking if it was a matter of the veterans' headstones that maybe, you know, if the cemetery could pour, you know, the cement base or something like that. But more than likely, what's going to work the best is going to be a historic marker, which we would maybe ask the cemetery to, you know, place that post and marker in whatever location the cemetery would like to have them. We wouldn't be dictating that. It's just wherever you think would be most appropriate.
So the marker would be something that your group would.
Yes. And I will, if we, you know, decide to go that way, I will ask for some ideas from the Historic Society or Commission on what companies to use. You know, what you've used in the past, whoever, you know, you like that, you know, turns out a good product.
And then let me ask you one more question. So there was a mention of a historic trail with possibly a marker on that as well. So there theoretically could be two markers, which is fine.
Well,
Could there be
I was just, you know, saying that if they would create that trail, that our marker could be a stop on that trail. So I wasn't proposing placing two markers, but I'm just saying that a marker stating that Revolutionary War patriots are buried in that cemetery would be part of that historic trail from the museum to the North Park.
Got it. So all you are seeking from us is permission to put stones down if you can indeed prove that those folks are buried there, and maybe a little help, which we can't really promise you from the cemetery folks, but we can certainly ask them if they could help you with the concrete.
Yes, that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. So now, folks, we know what Cecilia wants. Any conversation, question, discussion?
No. I think just one comment, Cecilia, that I had is if we can make this more informative and specific to Pendleton as possible, I think that would be really, really great. Talking about, I don't know, maybe why these veterans ended up in the Midwest, or were there land grants, things like that, or anything that would help us, I guess, understand more about what drew them here.
Why they're there, yes. I'm sure each one has a different story, but often we have seen that they have come to join children who did have, you know, land grants here. But we could, you know, we can research and get some specific information, perhaps make it a two-sided marker with, you know, one side, you know, stating that, you know, these revolutionary patriots, and then, you know, are buried here, and then something on the other side. So it would be generic to Falls Park, Falls Cemetery, the old Falls. The original, when I spoke to you about it originally, we were thinking of that America 250 marker, which we would not be allowed to place names on, and it just honors all patriots who you know, fought that war. So I think this is, you know, a better solution for Pendleton, in my opinion, to have that a little more specific information.
All right. I don't know that we need a motion for this. Jeff, do we need a motion for this?
Yes, that would be appropriate.
Okay. So, do I have a motion to allow these folks to put down stones if stones can be put down?
I'll
If
make
not, a marker.
I'll make a motion for it.
Dan, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Member seconds. Any other conversation about this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Good.
Thank you all. Thank you all. We will be in touch now that we have permission. We will go forward with pricing out some of these markers, and I will email Sandy and Kayla or whoever might have the information on what companies that you would prefer us to work with, and we'll get with the cemetery commission, and I'll speak to Tracy Dodd and see what information we can find about these guys. So this kind of sets the ball in motion. So I appreciate you all very much.
Let us know.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
You have the rest of the-
Oh, yes.
on battery. So,
Okay. And I suppose I need to share my screen so that we can,
wait, maybe I can pull it. 55% battery. All right. Let's see, who we got here? B.B. Taylor Building?
yes.
It's better already.
Slowly,
but at least it's better already. Okay, what we got?
I am gonna pull up the drawings that are part of this, and that way anybody who's calling in can see them.
Thank
Sorry, my Zoom skills are still evolving. Okay, there we go. So the petitioner tonight is John Oliver, Grove Properties, 108 to 110 North Pendleton Avenue, commonly known as the A.V. Taylor Building. Previously, it's housed Studio Academy, Music Academy, and I believe before that it was the old Trail.
Oh, okay.
And so John is proposing the renovation of the storefront, like he is doing next door, actually, where they've recently taken off the awning and revealed portions of the old storefront that they are planning on kind of working with and putting windows in where there were originally windows. So you can see where it's located here on North Pendleton Avenue. It's a contributing structure that was built, it looks like, between 1898 and 1908. So two-story brick. The first floor was originally, or very early on, a hardware and implements store. So here's the design that John's proposing, which is very much filling in where you can see that the existing windows were, and removing the awning and restoring those transom window openings, and kind of taking a cue from the other renovated storefronts in the downtown area. And then I've got a drawing of the first floor as well, which kind of shows that it's going to be probably more of a flat storefront. And you can see the recessed doorway to a stairwell that will go upstairs. And then there's also a historic photo. And I think the most interesting thing that this shows is that there was a much more intricate roof line, which unfortunately we've lost over the years. However, nothing that John is proposing would harm the existing roof line any worse. So at least we have architectural evidence if he can ever go back, or any future owner can ever go back and maybe reconstruct that roof line. So we know it was there. We've got a good picture. And what John's wanting to do today isn't making it any worse. So Maybe someday, right? Okay, here's what it looks like today. So we're very happy that we can at least see those original window openings. The nameplate is still visible. I assume that you'll be preserving the nameplate, the A.V. Taylor.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's your plan.
I don't know if I don't know what the plans are for the second story yet. So some of the, I'm trying to apply for the grants. There were some state grants available like July 1st, but they were already funded by like the 3rd, I think is what she said. So I didn't realize it was going to be that kind of time. So I missed that. So the initial, I want to go ahead and request approval for, you know, the new windows on the second floor so I can work on that as either labor or funds are available. What should happen with the labor?
Not long ago.
Right.
Has anything changed from what we talked about?
No, we
previously?
just didn't get, has anything changed with the grants?
Well, with your idea of what you're gonna do to the building.
No, not really. So, you know, the previous time that I was here was like in February, I think, or maybe, no, it was March. I think it was in March. So, you know, and that was for the approval on the north building. We just didn't have, you know, I think we had briefly talked about this, but there wasn't like a formal request or anything for that. So the plans haven't changed or anything like that. It's just, so,
For this
You don't
building
get
in
the north-
particular.
Is the north side done?
no. That's what you can kind of see on the left side of it there. So,
Okay, that's another.
I mean, I have the awning and the, there we go.
Uh,
It's opened up so we can see what was there. So, I mean, a lot of the wood structure is still intact. We have to reframe the angled areas there, but we'll basically just make that look like the front section.
nice.
Yeah, I didn't catch it in this photograph, but I was surprised that the lower portion of those storefront windows, that wood paneling pattern, it was just so easy to see.
Yeah, it
what
looks
it looked
great.
like. Yeah.
It looks great. So yeah, we're gonna keep that. Initially, the previous approval, I think, was for maybe to do like the, you know, the aluminum around the windows and stuff. And since all that wood is there, I think we're just gonna try and do the best we can to just restore what's there and just go ahead and make it work.
Okay, so for today, what are we talking about?
Basically, just that Kayla, the other building that Kayla had the picture of, basically like the yellow building and then the stairway. So doing the approval, so go ahead and get approval for the windows on top to do the larger windows and then to do the facade as what is shown.
Oh, so those windows will be much taller like they used to be.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, that would-
And then ultimately, like in the back, you have a picture of the back of the building.
No, my phone rang before I could snap a photo there.
So the back of the building as well, I think the windows are on the plan, but they are, like, it's a huge difference between what is there and the ones that are basically framed in. from the
Much
original.
smaller, right?
Much what?
Are they small? Are they
No,
French?
much, like, the ones now are much smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do the same on the back?
Eventually, yeah.
Nice.
So again, this is kind of a, you know, doing this in phases a little bit.
Sure.
But, yeah, so that's what, that would also be in the plan, I guess. for that.
Can you see the original window detail in the historic photo?
I can, yeah.
Can't tell.
Yeah, if you blow it up, if you move it up, you can see where the round brick used to be, where the window
Yeah.
used to be all the way up.
I mean, is it a two over window?
I think that, yeah, I think that's what we saw pictures of. For some reason, I want to say that particular one did not have, you know, it had like the wood piece of, you know, the wood trim at the top
Yeah. Oh,
instead of the archtop window, kind of like what's shown there.
that arch of, okay. So the window itself on the original was squared off like this is? It wasn't glazed all the way up into that archway?
Actually, it could have been the other way around. So in the back, in the back of the building, the window is squared off with the, I don't know what the wood arch. And then I guess maybe in the front, it had, the glass was arched. So I think, now that I think about it, I think that's how it is.
So you're proposing that that is still wood?
Just in the back. In the back, it would be wood.
On the front,
In the
the archway will be glazed?
it will be glass, correct.
Okay.
Because I think you can tell from the inside. The second floor is basically gutted, and so you can see a lot more detail.
Yeah. But as far as you know, that the windows were similar to this originally.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Are
No
you-
awning, no anything like that out front.
Not at this time, no.
Are you planning on doing any repairs to that roof line? I saw today that some of the roof felt was kind of flapping over the front of the building.
There will be some repairs for that eventually, yeah. I mean, especially, there's some other issues going on there.
Okay.
Structural issues and some other, roof caps that were installed or whatever, and the roof is leaking around there. So yeah, some, we would need to do some repairs out there.
Your rendering doesn't show the Taylor sign. Is that stay?
Yeah.
Is it in good shape?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really got that far yet.
It looked okay from down on the ground.
Yeah.
If you look close, I mean, I think you could tell out there. I think if you go up there, there is, the brickwork like above the sign, like in the corners and stuff, is definitely going to need addressed at some point. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously the sign can stay there. And so what is the, what would be the conversation about, like, removing the paint and exposing the brick versus like repainting the same color that is there? What are my options there, I guess, is what I would ask.
On the brick itself,
Mhm.
I think you would need to double check with us on the method that you're going to use. Sandblasting, things like that can damage the brick. So I would like to refer to the Secretary of Standards or another preservation expert just to like run by whatever
Okay.
method you're using by them.
What's your intent? To remove the paint or to leave
I
it?
don't know. I haven't got that far yet.
Okay.
I mean, I'm open to doing whatever is best from a historical standpoint. Obviously, knowing what the cost would be, I just need to get, once I get the lower facade done and some of the windows done, reframed in at that point, I would want to figure out what I need to do on the, the second floor facade. I don't know if I have it, an intent. Yeah, I don't know how expensive it's going to be to, remove the paint and restore the brick.
Yeah.
I don't-
It's difficult. Yeah.
So,
Kevin, do you have any recommendations on removing paint from brick? As far as methods go?
You have to really take a close look at it, see what the nature of the paint is, take a sample and everything else, and see, that's what you really need to do. Maybe there's, many generations of paint on there. I have no idea. So you could claim that that was original, 50 years old. So you could do that. The other thing I guess I would be concerned about would be any historical elements that you uncover when you take that awning off and everything else need to be preserved if at all possible. I mean, you can add to and build around, but you should leave what's there.
yeah. And you can see, so like in the plan or on the drawing, there's some posts in there. There's
Yeah.
2 or 4 steel posts that are in there.
Yep.
And you can see those from the inside of the building. So obviously they can stay there and whatever, detail or anything they have,
Are those like little medallions above them?
Is that the like rosettes or?
Was that, yeah.
On the, are you talking on the
steel beam.
the north building?
So, yeah.
Yeah,
On the north
yeah,
building.
yeah, those are little rosettes or whatever up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, Brett Mabry is our newest staff member, our new building inspector, and also has a history of being a first responder. Brett, do you want to introduce yourself real quick to the HBC and talk about what you told me when you see these ties on a building and what they are?
It, as a firefighter, you know, when we pull up to a building like that, we call them stars. And at some point, there's been some type of structural change in the building where they felt like they need to put this on the outside of the building or connect the inside to hold that building square so it don't fall out on the road when and if it would never catch on fire. So it's a safety feature of the building. A lot of those old facades, every one of them has it. It's not anything to be overly concerned with, unless you're going in when it's on fire. Then you want to keep in the back of your mind that and some are beautiful. I mean, they serve a purpose. They need to stay. I like it.
I noticed on the building to the south, former Pendleton shop, now an extension of Catello's, they're painted like a gold leaf or
Yeah.
something, and they're gorgeous.
They are. Some of them are.
Yeah, so this
They're
could be
worth a lot
a
of money.
really neat
So,
feature.
I mean, on an older building that's been torn down in small town USA, whatever, there's people out there that will hunt them and hunt them and hunt them. But,
So are you planning on tearing the awning off really soon
Yeah,
with the same crew you've got there right now? Hopefully?
correct, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, once I get the, obviously with the Tucker space, I'm trying to, move them along so they're not out of that space any longer than they have to be. So I would say maybe by the end of the week, I would have everything framed up, have glass measured and ordered on the north building. And at that point, once I get to there, then I would pull off in there and then move over to the building that we're discussing tonight, yeah.
We've already approved.
Yes. Yep. So we approved the lock building or the old telephone exchange first, and then tonight we're looking at the next document. Yep.
You have any other discussion about this? Question?
I just had one comment, what Kevin said earlier, if there are recessed openings in there, there's poles, if there's things there from the past, that we work really hard to save those or preserve those, which may alter what you have what you've shown us right now.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's what we'll intend to do a little bit. That happened a little bit on the north building. We kind of made some adjustments.
Okay.
Just to restore kind of the wood and the detail that's there and stick with that. So, and then we'll do the same on the building that we're talking about. I don't think there is, just because it's all torn out inside. The only thing, it's just that piece of siding up, so I can pretty much see what's going on there. But certainly, if you haven't covered anything, yeah, we'll stick with
Okay.
whatever we do.
The original windows were wooden, right, up above?
I'm assuming so. Yeah.
And so you're going back with wood?
I can. Again, I haven't got that far. Just the, replacing the windows on both of those buildings in front and back is, mid six figures, I think. So,
We'd frown on vinyl and.
well, it definitely wouldn't be that. So I've actually worked with a Marvin product that was used here at the town.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be something similar to
We've
that.
approved that.
Yeah.
Yep. As long as it looks like the original.
Yeah, it would be something. Yeah, it would be something like that. It's not going to be a replacement window.
I think it's a nice project. I'm glad you came forward with it, and it's certainly central to the town.
Yeah, thank you.
That brick up at the top looks pretty flimsy. I hope it's not.
Yeah, I just noticed it a couple weeks ago when I was there. When I was looking, when I met with the mason over there, just to kind of look at some of the cut pointing and more major work.
Is that a flat roof or is that the facade? Is that like a fake facade up there, or do you know? Have you been up there?
I have not been up there.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee you it's right. Slightly slow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A little doohickey sticking up on the top there, was that an add-on at a later date or a remnant?
Richard, that was a remnant.
I think that was a remnant. If you look at the old picture. it's about
Yeah.
place, it's,
Yeah.
two remnants that are on either side of the centerpiece.
Well, it's hard to tell from this picture, but it almost looks like a chimney up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So if,
It's-
you know, if that's not original, bye-bye.
Yeah, I bet you it is though. It's probably part of that one photo that she showed us where, see, you can see it, how it's got two little, like where the point's at. Looks like
Yeah.
there's two little, yeah. It looks like those have all been wiped out except for that one.
That's strange.
It does look like the glass goes all the way up on those windows, but we might be able to do some more research. The museum has quite a few photos that we could pull from.
Yeah, that would
and
be
we've
good.
got- Yeah, to get, at least get some good ones so
But
you
it-
know what you're doing.
It seems likely that there was glazing on the top there.
Yeah. I would say.
That's what he's gonna do. That makes a lot of sense.
In the
Yeah.
front, yeah, but again, not in the back. In the back, from the inside of the building, you can see the original, like wood. So the wood, or the windows are square in the back, and then there's,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, like a wavy arch, like trim, wood trim piece in the back.
Well, it's a good project. I
What's
think
your
it would-
timetable?
I don't know. It was moving along pretty quick till I found out the grants were already used up. So I'm not
Oh.
sure. Honestly, I'd like to get some, you know, a tenant in one or two of those spaces, and then that'll help, you know, with some other stuff. And then,
Yeah.
so the front facades, like that's immediate, basically. That's going to happen, you know, now. And then the rest of it I'll do. I know the mason's going to do some work, some brickwork, like remove the chimney in the back. That's about ready to fall over, just some of that stuff that we're gonna do, and then it might be just a little bit here and there for a while.
Second floor office or nothing?
I don't know, just kind of looking at some other options. It's completely open now. So the second
Yeah.
floor, there was some apartments that were up
Yep.
there in like, I don't know, it's been 10 or 15 years since anybody's lived up there. That's all been torn out, so it's completely
Yep.
good. So there's some structural issues. And have to, I have a meeting with an engineer here in a couple weeks so he can kind of assess everything.
We've talked about trying to get some additional housing in the downtown area, you know, which would be a good planning thing. as
Yeah.
far as-
Yeah, that's an option. That's an option. I thought about that. And after seeing it all open and stuff, I don't know if there's, you know, could be used for like some event space. You know, I have to put an elevator in there and figure out some other logistical stuff
Yeah.
there.
Muncie did a bunch of apartments over storefronts. They're really pretty neat if you
Yeah.
want to visit Muncie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a really good kitchen.
Divide their cabinets, yeah. Yeah, so and that's initially what my plan was, to do the apartments.
Yeah.
I wanted to get 4 apartments up there. The architect that I had look at it said that I would only be able to have 3 up there. And then so at that point, you know, I just don't know if the return is going to be worth the investment. So, you know, that's my first choice. But
It looks like it's got a pretty high ceiling, which would be a neat feature.
yeah, huge windows. Yeah, so I think maybe there's 14-foot ceilings on the first floor, and I think they're probably the same on the second. But there's a lot of exposed brick up there on the second floor. And yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be a cool space. So.
All right, any other questions, comments? So we need a motion to approve this.
I will motion to approve.
There's a motion from Dan to approve it as written. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We got a second from Sandy. Any other discussion on this? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. Well done.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's support.
And we appreciate you doing that for that building. That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
built
from here,
like
it looks like
a,
the step on to, so is the road that much lower in the picture that was today than it is today? Or
no,
is it just up from where I'm sitting? I'm trying,
they had an awning built over it pretty early on because it was a hardware and implements store. So I believe they were selling a lot of more utilitarian items.
from here, it looks like there's steps right on this end.
That's a fence.
Okay, that makes, okay.
It does look like steps.
I thought, what happened to the road? Did how it get so high?
The horses, you know, they were hell on the
Well,
line.
that's true.
All right.
I thought, well, you're right.
It looks like that was the receiving dock for the building.
Yeah, it was. It looked like-
The front door and the receiving dock.
At the time too, the interurban ran down right in front of this
Yeah.
location, and then the railroad was just behind it. So this was sort of
Oh,
right.
almost this was a happening business spot. A lot of industry was happening right here at this location.
And you can see some of in the north building. I don't know when that would have been, but there was, like the floor joists are recessed into the brick on the foundation. That's a lot higher than what
Yeah.
like actual floor height would be, so I don't know if that was
And the upstairs gutted already.
Yeah.
The walls and everything.
on the north building.
No, yeah, well,
The north building is like 75% of the way there. The walls are also intact.
where are the apartments at? One building in the middle.
In the middle there. There was
My grandpa told me that probably the first World Series of football played up there.
Yeah, those are. I was hoping.
Coming up with all sorts of inspirational ideas here, aren't you?
That would have been quite the grant to do that.
Mhm.
The car up a full one, found $125, but that's all I have. All right.
By more than that.
Thank you, John.
All right, thank you.
Good luck to you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, guys.
115 West State Street, Martin Insurance.
Okay.
What's this all about?
Well, let me see if either of our two call-in listeners are who they are and if they have anything to say about this petition. Hi, could our two call-in listeners please state their names?
Hi, this is Jennifer Sargent.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Are you calling in about this last petition?
No, I'm just listening in to the meeting.
Okay. Well, thanks for attending.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome.
See if our other attendees. No, just their phone numbers are showing in.
Maybe they need some help unmuting or something.
Okay. Well, I guess I will go over the questions that we have relating to the up and coming Martin Insurance at 115 West State. It's really more some questions than anything on interpretation. And how the HPC would feel about kind of a roof sign for the ATM that is left from BMO Harris Bank. And let's see, trying to figure out which page I put that on. I'm gonna share my screen again.
In the building that Martin Insurance is redoing for their company, there will still be a BMO ATM machine.
Yeah, I think I remember him saying that it was contracted out for another 2 more years. That he can't do anything until after that contract is over.
Because we wanted to get rid of that man as well.
Yeah, when BMO Harris came back a couple years ago, they ended up withdrawing their petition. But they had wanted to replace that roofing with another metal product. And it was just kind of re-roofing the same. So anyway, I've put a picture up of the sign that I think BMO really would like more so than Mr. Martin. But it's from what I can tell, an illuminated box sign that's kind of perched on the edge of that false mansard awning. And what concerns me is that it does appear to be, I haven't heard that it wouldn't be illuminated. I believe it would be an internal illuminated box sign. Additionally, our ordinance, this is more of a BZA matter, does not talk about roof signs, which you start drawing the line between an awning or auxiliary sign and a roof sign. And it starts getting into BZA territory a little bit. We've had them happen on some of these similar style awnings, but not so much in the historic district. So I wanted, I guess, to get your feel on if this sign is appropriate. We have reviewed new signs for the existing pole sign that is there. And the ATM, this is the old pole sign that's been there for years. It's grandfathered in, so it's just sort of refacing the cabinet. We are making sure that the signage that goes up there is dark background versus, say, a white background that would be very bright at night. So a dark background would ensure it would be as low key as possible. But the ATM, that same strip, is going to be advertised on the bottom of the pole sign, that bottom row of text. So it'll still get advertising there. And if you look out the window on your way out the door, you'll see that the ATM machine itself is still covered with some signage. So my staff interpretation is that the illumination of this sign, for one thing, is something that we have not allowed in the past. The new sign.
This is just like the Yomerville sign.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which they were welcome to put inside their shop, but not hang out front.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So since Mr. Martin's not here, I don't believe we need to make a motion, but Jeff, if you want to kind of clarify us on how we should handle this, if this was just an interpretation question, if I can kind of take my cue as a staff member on how to run with this.
Yeah, by motion and second, the commission can direct staff as their interpretation of the standard.
So the description of this is custom illuminated cabinet wall sign. Cabinet is aluminum routed out with push-through copy. So this is identical to the one that Yomerville did. That was an aluminum box with a plastic panel that was illuminated from behind. And we said, you can't do that.
Yeah, I didn't see that before. They're reusing something.
Yeah, it's from another location. So we've already ruled that you can hang it indoors if you like, but not outdoors.
My personal preference is to go by your discretion. So what do you think?
based on what we've done in the past.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear that the illumination of it is a no-go.
But I think Kevin said it with the Yomerville sign, it looks like a strip mall sign, which is fine in the strip mall. But in the historic district, it's not what we're looking for.
Yeah, well, even relocating the sign and then lighting it externally, it's still horrible.
Where did you see that it's being relocated?
It's up in the notes.
See, it's from a different store, from Palatine,
Yeah.
location 4680.
Yep.
I don't know where that is, but they're plucking it from one store and putting it on this one. And
It's pretty horrible.
if it were not illuminated, it would be better, but it's,
They still have a street sign pole, right?
Yeah, there's still a pole sign.
Yeah, why can't that be sufficient enough? Would be my question to that.
I don't really care for the sign.
well, unless we're gonna change precedent, we've already made precedent on this, so they either need to come back with a different sign or a different way of doing this, or we've already made precedent, this doesn't fly in the historic district.
I don't know why they need to have the giant BMO Harris Bank on there anyway. It just seems like the ATM tastefully done would be more than enough.
True. Well, publicity, yeah.
Yeah, but the bank is doesn't really have a presence here. And most people that use ATMs don't use that bank anyway. They're just looking for a place to get some cash.
Right.
And I think that ATM it says BMO on it. So it's like, I agree with what Kevin's saying. They're just going there to get some money.
Yeah.
So I think they're just advertisement is what they're doing.
So Jeff, we need to make a motion to allow staff to make a decision, correct?
Yes, that's fine. You can make a motion to formally permit staff to use its discretion in interpreting the standards and submissions.
We have a motion to do that. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second. Any other conversation on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. It's based on what we just told you. You can blame us.
Yeah.
All right, do we have anything else that anyone wants to discuss, or do we have anything from the
Just a
floor?
quick question on this BMO Harris sign. What's the square footage that we permit? Did you consider that?
Good question.
Because that's humongous.
It does seem very large, especially when you look out at the actual site. However, it does seem to be in line with what our ordinance allows. Well, actually, you know what? Since we don't really allow roof signs, and that's how I interpreted this,
Well, that's what
I actually didn't even look into signage. It doesn't sign size.
So
It kind of automatically went.
this thing's 14 feet long.
Yeah.
If it were a wall sign, we would say 1 square foot per 2 lineal feet.
Okay. Well, whatever. You're empowered to do something, but it's huge and ugly.
Yeah.
Illumination of it, I think, is enough for me to go on.
We gotta stick with everything with that.
I just wanted to bring up one more thing, separate from this altogether. The gentleman that was working on the house that he's turning into a business down,
I went by there, he was sitting on the porch.
Duncan Avenue.
Yeah. State Street.
State Street. I thought we had voted for him to move the garage, but I noticed that he's painted that garage and done everything to it. Is he not going to? do
Oh,
that
I'm
now?
sorry. I was thinking there. You're right. It's down there.
Bob Post?
Bob
Yeah,
Post.
Bob Post.
I had not noticed that yet. I think I know that we spoke with him, our inspector, our contract inspector through our contract engineer Banning. we'd stop by and talk to him. It's probably been a little while now.
I'd like to
About-
get back in.
Okay, is it changed?
No, it's just that he said he was gonna move that garage, but he's painted it
Leaving it where it is?
and leaving it where it is. If he's not gonna move it, I wouldn't know why. Because if he's already fixed it up and everything, I'm gonna switch my vote. Well, I wouldn't mind switching it.
Okay. So if it,
We did approve that.
we did approve the change to move it. I know that our building inspector and actually a member of our fire department were concerned about how close it was going to be to the brick building next door.
Yeah.
And so that might have been one factor.
But we did approve that,
Now,
because we discussed that as well, how close it would be to the next building. We were okay with that,
But
as I remember.
But it's already painted and everything. It's already fixed up and he never moved it. And he should have.
I understand, and we should find out what's going on with that. It could be that it cost too much money to move it, or they tried to move it, and it almost fell apart, and they didn't move it, so.
Yeah, so I just basically would like to ask them to come back in and talk to us about it.
okay. Yeah. Now, if it's not a conspicuous change to the physical structure, if you just decided to leave something as is,
Yeah.
I don't know that there's much we can do about revoking a certificate of appropriateness or modifying it, but certainly I could ask Mr. Post to come back in and just give us an update on the project. And,
Yeah.
you know, if the public safety factor coming in kind of,
Yeah, I mean, I
Taking this
definitely don't
plan.
want the other building to catch on fire if that catches on fire. If it needs to be moved, you know, it's gotta be moved. But I just would more like an explanation from him because we have not heard from him for a while.
okay, yeah, I will check in with him. See what's going on here. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Okay, anything else, everybody? From anybody? Hearing nothing, we will call meeting adjourned. See you on October 13th.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kayla, for setting it up.
Bye.
Good night.
Yeah, who did these? Two, weren't they?
One guy.
Yes.